Chillet, the best a man can get. This blue ice dragon element chili ferret has won the hearts of the community by being inexplicably adorable and deceptively useful. Chillet has even been voted the #1 favourite pal in 2 separate community polls, and its popularity only increased with the introduction of its pink fire dragon dual type variant Chillet Ignis. Although showcased as number 62 in Pocket Pair's X and YouTube channel Paldeck, Chillet is featured as number 55 in Palworld's in-game Palpedia. Its Palpedia entry states that it can curl up its body and roll around at high speeds, and apparently people throughout history would tie bags of milk to domesticated Chillet so that they could produce butter with its spinning force. What a strange way to make butter. However, Pocket Pair have missed a trick there, because I would totally buy some Chillet endorsed dairy products. If cows can sell anchor butter, then Chillet can do it too. Due to its dual ice and dragon typing, Chillet is primarily weak against fire and strong against dark types, which makes it a great pal to take with you at night time to take on all the depressos, tombats, daydreams and other nocturnal dark types you will encounter in the starting area. Ordinarily, ice types would also be strong against dragon types, and dragon types are weak to ice types, but Chillet's dual typing cancel out these affinities. In terms of creature design, Chillet is characteristically long and thin, in a way that is akin with mammals belonging to the Mustelidae family, such as weasels, badgers and otters. Chillet primarily stands on its hind legs, but assumes a quadrupedal stance while roaming and being ridden by the player. The top half of its body is a light blue colour, while its underside is white. Its white underbelly features 3 dark blue markings on its chest that are likely intended to resemble ice crystals or dragon scales. This dark blue colour is also featured on the tip of its long ears, back fins, and is the colour of diamond-shaped detailing on its tail. This pal also has white cheek tufts and big blue anime-style expressive eyes. It has quite a relaxed temperament and tends to flee when they spot the player, but it will attack if provoked. Your first encounter with Chillet will likely be through completing the early game main quest that prompts you to defeat its level 11 Field Alpha, located south of the Fort Ruins fast travel statue. Otherwise, you won't encounter a wild Chillet until you reach the Frostbound Mountains, where many can be seen roaming around alone or in pairs in the frozen area that surrounds the Free Pal Alliance tower. Chillet also spawns in around the ruins south of the Astral Mountains, in the area where you can also find Icy Weasel Hill, No Man's Trail and Cold Shore. Alpha Chillets, known as Dancer on the Steppe, drop ancient civilization parts, leather, precious pelt, and sometimes a legendary cloth outfit schematic when defeated or captured, while normal Chillets drop leather. Chillet is actually a surprisingly useful early game pal. It can serve as a great aquatic mount, but bear in mind that you cannot salvage while mounting Chillet, since this requires a water type mount. It's also excellent for exploring hot areas like Mount Obsidian and the desiccated dunes before you acquire any heat resistant gear, since Chillet's icy aura will keep the player cool. Riding Chillet requires crafting a saddle, which is a tier 13 technology in the tech tree and requires 10 leather, 20 fibre, 20 paldium and 5 cloth to craft. Chillet's partner skill Wriggling Weasel not only allows you to ride Chillet, but it also increases the player's attack by a percentage and changes their damage type to dragon type. The percentage that the player's attack is increased depends on the level of condensing your Chillet has reached. No condensing at the Palessence condenser provides a 50% attack boost, whilst max 4-star condensing provides a 100% boost. In terms of stats, a level 1 Chillet starts out with 549 HP, 106 in attack, 56 defense and a work speed of 70. Coming across one with great IVs actually seems rarer than other pals, but having one with high IVs can make a big difference. My strongest level 65 Chillet has 10,343 HP, 1,579 in attack, 1,199 in defense and a work speed of 156. This is with excellent IVs, max condensing and souls, a trust level of 4, and the Hydromaniac, Sleek Stroke, Runner and Ferocious passive skills. The only way I could make this pal even stronger is by maxing out its trust level, or swapping out passive skills for ones that increase stats, but this particular build is more for a water mount. When it comes to work suitabilities, Chillet has level 1 in gathering and cooling. It can be assigned to the cooler box and cold food storage to keep ingredients and meals fresher for much longer, and it can harvest crops. It seems a shame to leave a great early game mount like Chillet on stationary cooling duty or undertaking gathering duties that can be performed by other early game pals anyway, so I tend to use Pengullet as a cooling alternative if I don't have Food Rot disabled, and Cativa, Tansy or Liftmonk as gatherers. Like I said previously, Chillet is a much better mount than being a base worker with wasted potential, so I would not create a base worker build for Chillet with passives to match. Instead, I would focus on a Chillet with passives more suited to a water mount that focus on movement speed on water and increasing stamina. Sleek Stroke, Ace Swimmer and King of the Waves all increase movement speed on water, but that doesn't mean you cannot also consider Runner, Nimble and Swift for a general increase in movement speed. These passives do make a huge difference, and Sleek Stroke, which provides a 30% increase to movement speed on water, is available at the PAL operating table, alongside Nimble for an additional 10% increase to movement speed. If you can find a Chillet who already has the Runner, Swift or Ace Swimmer passives, then that is an excellent starting point to create a perfect water mount. Of course, a lot of stamina is required to traverse the big ocean, so passives like Fit as a Fiddle and Infinite Stamina will increase its maximum stamina so it can swim for longer. Eternal Engine is the best stamina increasing passive, providing a 75% boost, but this is harder to come by naturally. In terms of active skills, Chillet has a lot to offer. A level 1 Chillet comes with the move Ice Missile, where it creates ice lances in the air to launch at enemies with a power of 30 and a 3-second cooldown. This is followed by Dragon Cannon gained at level 7. Dragon Cannon allows it to throw a draconic powered energy ball at an enemy. It has an active skill cooldown of 2 seconds and a power of 30. At level 11, Chillet gains its exclusive skill Rocket Slam, where it gathers energy and blindly leaps forward, knocking enemies down. It's quite impactful with a power of 50 and a 6-second cooldown. Being an exclusive skill to Chillet, you would think that a level 1 Chillet would already come with this move, but it's likely reserved for level 11 because the Field Alpha Chillet is level 11 maybe.
These go to 11.
Chillet then learns Dragon Burst at level 15, where it quickly discharges draconic energy, damaging those within its radius. Upon reaching level 22, Chillet gains the Icicle Cutter ability, which allows it to create a crescent blade of ice to hurl at enemies. Dragon Burst and Icicle Cutter both have a power of 55 and a 10-second cooldown. At level 30, the move Draconic Breath is gained, which has a power of 70 and a 15-second cooldown. This move sees Chillet exhale breath imbued with draconic energy, dealing continuous damage to those in front of it. Its next active skill, gained at level 40, also deals continuous damage to enemies, but takes the form of Crisp Breath. Crisp Breath enshrouds foes in a frigid blast of air, with a power of 90 and a 22-second cooldown. Chillet's final move is called Dragon Meteor, and it's very impactful. Gained at level 50, this move allows it to call forth several small meteors to launch at enemies with a power of 150 and a 55-second cooldown. While Chillet does have quite an impressive moveset and a great dual typing, it's still best used as an early game aquatic mount, since it can quickly be swapped out for bigger, better pals for base working and combat. But if you did want an overpowered combat ally, then there are several passive skills you could consider to make Chillet an Ice Dragon force to be reckoned with. Firstly, while there aren't any common passives across the board that Chillet is known to have, it's not uncommon to come across Chillets with the Vanguard, Hydromaniac and Cold-Blooded passive skills. Cold-Blooded is what you should be aiming for here, since it grants Chillet a 10% natural increase to ice attack damage. Blood of the Dragon is also a desirable starting point for a combat build Chillet, since this does the same thing as Cold-Blooded, except for dragon attack damage. Lunker is also a great passive skill for a Chillet who doubles up as a mount and a capable combat companion. Lunker boosts water and ice attack damage by 20%, and increases defense by 20%, and it's not impossible to find a Chillet with this passive already. Passives that increase general attack and defense are always a good idea. Skills like Ferocious and Hard Skin are quite common and can be given to Chillet at the PAL operating table. But if you are serious about Chillet being a combat powerhouse, as much as it can be anyway, then you could take the time and effort to breed down exclusive passive skills. Legend is a great passive for combat mounts since it increases attack and defense by 20% and increases movement speed by 15%. You would need to find the correct breeding chain to ensure that a child Chillet would inherit the Legend passive. The easiest way to do this would be to pair a Frostallion with either a Teefant or Mao in the breeding pen. All other possible breeding chains are more complex, requiring several stages of inheritance. Furthermore, Frostallion also has the Ice Emperor exclusive passive skill, which increases ice attack damage by 20%. So this makes it easier for Chillet to inherit two fantastic passives from the same parent. But I don't know why anyone would choose to use Chillet over Frostallion for combat anyway. There are other combat passives that Chillet could benefit from, but these would require more complex breeding chains, such as Siren of the Void, Invader, and most notably Divine Dragon, which is a skill that boosts dragon attack by 20% and is exclusive to Jet Dragon. Personally, I wouldn't go to that much trouble for Chillet. I also wouldn't bother giving it skill fruits to tailor its combat moveset, or work suitability books to bump up its work suitability levels. Chillet has its role to play, and that role is early game water traversal and temperature control in hot areas. As well as being quickly replaced on your team and your base, Chillet is also quickly eclipsed by other water mounts, who are faster, can salvage, and can offer more, such as Serpent, Azarobe, Gangler, Waylasker, and Neptilius. Before we continue with Chillet, let's talk a little bit about its fire dragon element subspecies Chillet Ignis. Chillet Ignis is identical to Chillet in terms of creature design, but it sports a pink colour instead of blue. Design is not the only thing that Chillet Ignis shares with its counterpart. It has a level 1 work suitability in Gathering 2, but Chillet's work suitability in Cooling is replaced with level 2 Kindling for Chillet Ignis. This means Chillet Ignis can use furnaces and cook food at your base as well as harvest crops. While Chillet can keep players cool exploring hot regions, Chillet Ignis can do the opposite, keeping players warm when exploring cold areas such as the Frostbound Mountains and the Astral Mountains. Its partner skill Sparkling Weasel does the same as Chillet's partner skill Wriggling Weasel, except instead of changing the player's attack to Dragon type, the player's attack is converted to Fire Element instead. My strongest level 65 Chillet Ignis has 10,161 HP, 1,315 in attack, 1,183 in defense, and a work speed of 156. This is with max condensing and souls, a trust level of 4, high IVs, and no passive skills. If I wanted to make this pal even stronger, then the best thing I could do is give it appropriate passives based on what kind of build I would want. I could also max out its trust level and IV figures using kinship peaches and IV fruits. Its moveset consists of a range of dragon and fire type attacks, which include Dragon Burst at level 7 and Rocket Slam that Chillet has, except Rocket Slam is gained at level 30 instead of level 11 this time. At level 1, Chillet Ignis has Ignis Blast, where a ball of fire can be hurled at enemies with a power of 30 and a 2-second cooldown. At level 15, it gains Flare Arrow, which fires 3 flaming arrows in quick succession that hone in on enemies. This move has a cooldown of 10 seconds and a power of 55, just like Dragon Burst. Next up is Ignis Breath at level 22, which shoots flames at enemies, dealing continuous damage with a power of 70 and a cooldown of 15 seconds. This is followed by the active skill Flame Wall learnt at level 40, that creates a wall of flames and damages all those who touch it. This move has a power of 100 and a 30-second cooldown. His final move comes in the form of Fireball, which has a power of 150 and a 55-second cooldown. Fireball allows Chillet Ignis to create a giant ball of fire to be hurled at an enemy, exploding on impact over a wide area. This is its most powerful move. Chillet Ignis can be found in the cherry blossom forest that surrounds the Dancing Sakura Shrine on Sakurajima, and can also be encountered as a level 40 Alpha Pal inside Sakurajima Cherry Blossom Caves. Its dual typing gives it a strong advantage over native pals in the area. Being a fire dragon type, Chillet Ignis is weak to water but strong against grass and dark types. This makes Chillet Ignis strong against Selene, Lulu, Shroomer, Shroomernoct, Sutsia, and Prickster, with the water type Crowajiro being its primary weakness on the island. If you don't want to wait until you get to Sakurajima Island before getting a Chillet Ignis, then you could always breed an Arsox with a Chillet. But then again, why not just use Arsox for your kindling needs anyway, since it also has a level 2 work suitability. This is a great subspecies for Chillet, but sadly by the time we encounter a Chillet Ignis, its value as a base worker or combat ally has already long passed. By the time we reach Sakurajima, and level 45, which is when its saddle becomes available, we have access to many superior fire pals with higher kindling work suitabilities. So unfortunately Chillet Ignis ends up being less useful than Chillet, who actually does have important early game functions, which includes having a role to play in breeding. There are too many parent combinations to list that will result in a child Chillet, but unless you are looking to pass down a specific passive skill, Chillets are easy enough to come by. As a parent, Chillet is quite the bicycle, with many combinations that can result in some surprising and useful pals. Pairing Chillet in the breeding pen with Celeray, Broncherry or Dictois can get you an early game mount Kitsune, who makes the player immune to hot and cold environments when mounted. Chillet and Elizabeth, Warsect, Pyrin, Prickster and many others will get you a child Anubis, who is a fantastic handiwork and mining pal and an excellent combat ally. Chillet and Ribunny, Bristler or Thwack will get you a Direhowl. Chillet and Mamarest will produce a child Sutsia who can drop bone at your ranch. Chillet and Sutsia or Surf and Terror can pop out a Dazemoo, which is a super speedy mount especially on sandy terrains. You can also get yourself an Azarobe by breeding a Chillet with a Grisbolt, although Azarobes can be found in great abundance at the Wildlife Sanctuary where you will find Grisbolt anyway. There are a lot of other useful combinations, but those are the most notable. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about Chillet and its fiery counterpart Chillet Ignis. Even though this pal has limited uses, I still adore them both. Not to boast, but I was gifted an absolutely fantastic Chillet Teddy and I was so chuffed. I also got a Grisbolt one, which was awesome, but sadly that's got a hole in its side now, it's so tragic. Anyways, let me know if Chillet is your favourite pal and why. I should really create a Discord where people can share their builds or something, that would be nice. Anyways, I've been Heather at Paltopia, and thank you very much for watching.